Child abuse is not just physical violence directed at the child. It is any form of maltreatment by an adult which is violent or threatening for the child, which also includes neglect. Child abuse occurs in the home when the abuser is, for example, the child's caregiver or a familiar person. Generally, there are 5 types of child abuse: physical abuse, emotional or psychological abuse, physical neglect, emotional or psychological neglect, and sexual abuse. But our main focus is sexual abuse. Every year, an estimated 119 children suffer sexual abuse and neglect. 1 in 5 women and 1 in 13 men report having sexually abused as a child aged 0 to 17 years. 120 million girls and young women under 20 years of age have suffered some form of forced sexual contact. Sun sets on Tokwe, a 15-year-old girl with big dreams and bright ambitions of becoming a civil lawyer. She's an orphan living with her sister. What's your name?
My name is Tokwe Adesoya.
Can you tell us what happened on the 1st of July 2018?
On a fateful day, I went to visit my sister's boyfriend with her. It was actually an experience that I really don't like remembering. Okay, so we got there. We're happy to see each other, talking and all. Everything was cool. Not until my sister, because we were really hungry when we got there, so she offered to get us food. She left the house, so it was basically just me and her boyfriend. I just noticed his countenance changed, although I didn't really pay attention to it at that time. He came closer. I was just like, okay, probably doesn't mean anything. Okay. So I noticed he started coming close to me. I really didn't pay attention to it. So I was feeling so uncomfortable that I actually had to excuse myself. I went to the toilet. I wasn't even really using the toilet just because I was feeling so uncomfortable. I came outside just for me to find him outside the toilet door. Unfortunately, his room toilet was the toilet I used. Seeing him outside, I was scared because I was like, what was he looking for there? All of a sudden, he grabbed me and he pushed me on the bed. Before I knew what was going on, I found myself on the bed. I was raped that fateful afternoon.
We headed down to Lofty Heights building in Mara to speak with barrister Ayokunnu, a legal practitioner, to give us more insight from a legal perspective. Please, can you tell us what your name is and what you do?
Okay, my name is Ede Sunday Ode. I'm a legal practitioner.
Okay, I'm here to speak to you about child abuse. I want to get an insight from a legal perspective. Can you please shed more light on this topic from a legal perspective?
Okay, so basically, child abuse is any form of sexual sexually stimulating young people and also exposing their genitals, to the public. So anything that exploits a child sexually forms, part of child abuse.
Have you ever handled a child abuse case before? Can you give us like a quick breakdown on how that went?
Yes, definitely. They brought a case to my table in 2018, just before the lockdown. So it was a family situation, basically. So a mother got remarried, and then she had like a 15-year-old daughter that was living with her and a new husband. So apparently the husband was having sexual intercourse with this child, and this has been going on for years. And the child told the mother about it, and in her own way, in quotes, she handled the situation until things got out of hand. So that girl got pregnant, and then relatives brought the matter to the station. So basically, one of the things that affects children in these our times is not the laws. So we have a lot of laws that protect children in society, but the major problem we have is implementation of those laws. So for example, in this situation I just mentioned, the mother was protecting her husband and her family. Okay, what will people say? So the child in question was suffering, but she just more about what society would feel about the situation than getting justice for the child. Even when the matter got to the police, they were still hush hush about it because they don't want the matter to come out. So going forward, I think we all have a role to play in enforcing these rights that have been provided for in the laws. So the authorities have a role to play, because sometimes a girl is raped or a child is raped, and then they don't encourage you to speak up. You come to the police station, they start by asking questions like, what were you wearing? Why did you go there? Those questions are completely irrelevant. It doesn't change the fact that a minor was molested. Or what will people say in this situation? Because it's a family thing, they don't want the matter out, in the public. So they tend to want to cover it and handle it in their own way, thereby hurting the child. So we need to do better. We need to speak up in our societies, in our environments. If we find a situation where we feel a child is being abused, we should take it upon ourselves to bring the offenders to justice. So that's just how it is.
Thank you for that brief insight. So how did that case end?
Okay, so eventually the stepfather was sentenced to 21 years imprisonment, which in my opinion is too short, because people like this never change really. It's bad behavior that just keeps increasing with the time. And with COVID-19 and the lockdown, we had a surge in the cases of rape and child abuse, and as a result of that, the law in Kaduna, they passed a bill that states that any child offender is going to be castrated and then sentenced to death immediately. I think we need more laws like that to discourage people that intend to engage in child abuse. So going forward, for people that it's brought to my attention that a lot of people actually have this issue, but they cannot come forward, probably because they don't trust the judicial system or they cannot afford legal counsel. So I would just like to point that this WARIF, it's a non-profit organization that focuses on women's rights and child rights. So if anybody is going through any form of sexual abuse, even as a woman or as a child, you can walk up to their office and then they'll take it up from there. It's completely free. They will sensitize you, and you won't be entitled to see a psychologist, not just for sexual abuse, even for domestic violence. They are open to help.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Childhood sexual abuse infringes on rights of human beings. Children should be able to have sexual experiences at the appropriate developmental time within control and choice. The nature and turnover of sexual abuse are often traumatic. It hinders normal social growth and causes many psychological problems. Childhood sexual abuse has been included with high levels of depression, guilt, shame, self-blame, eating disorders, somatic concerns, anxiety, dissociative patterns, repression, denial, and sexual problems and relationship problems. Afterwards, when the sexual abuse is done by a highly trusted adult, it may be hard for such victims to view the perpetrator in a negative way, thus leaving them incapable of seeing what happened as not their fault. Survivors often blame themselves and internalize negative messages about themselves. They tend to give off more self-destructive behaviors and experience more suicidal thoughts, anxiety attacks, stress, and phobias long after the experiences have ceased. Victims are having trouble drawing attention to the abuse. Therapists and psychologists may have to work with victims to increase their ability to accurately attribute responsibility. To help decrease levels of depression and anxiety, helpful goals for survivors may be to increase their sense of control and increase their ability to accurately attribute responsibility. The feeling of fear of vulnerability may hinder the victim from disclosing their childhood sexual abuse, but relationship building strategies like encouragement, validations, self-disclosure, and boundary setting are encouraged to help build trust.